Hey, this is Dustin from MakeMHz, and today I will be installing the HDMI kit. This video is not a how-to, but a general overview of the install process. Please refer to the installation manual for a more detailed step-by-step guide, as small details may have changed since the recording of this video. At this point, your Xbox should be fully tested and working. Also, the Xbox HDMI BIOS patches should be installed and tested beforehand, either through the soft mod install, TSOT flash, or mod chip. The first step is removing the AV port. And for this method, I'm using a desoldering pump. For the second method, I'm going to use hot air to remove the AV port. It's very important to completely insulate the surrounding components. And again, I'm using the tweezers here to apply a gentle downward force to remove the connector. For the third method, I'm using a low temp solder from ChipQuick. Even more so for this method, it's very important to completely insulate the surrounding components. This solder has a low melting temperature and remains molten for a long period of time. For the fourth method, I'll be removing the AV port destructively. This method is not recommended.
Okay, apologize. Had some technical difficulties earlier. It seems that I've got it working though. From what you can tell, I've got the guide up currently, and if I switch over to my bench, uh, you can see the bottom side of the case for the original Xbox. We will get to this in a minute. As far as board prep goes, I've got a board that I'm going to be installing this on right here. And I'm not going to be able to actually, I don't have my scope cam, so I'm not going to be able to actually show the flex cable here. Sorry for the bad lighting. Being installed properly, but I will do my best to show you. What was that?
I think Connor leaned a little too much to the side and slipped right out.
Anyway, I'll do my best to show the cable getting installed, and I will try to get the camera up as close as possible to show the points in which they go on. That is also included in the guide. You will see that there. So I'm going to put this board to the side for just a moment. Oh crap. Get that put right there. As far as the AV port removal goes, as you've seen in the video that I started showing, you can use just about any method to remove it. I have some solder wick right here. Let me see if I can turn this down maybe. Oh, and just turn it off for a minute. It seems like you can see better that way. I've got some solder wick that you could use to pull solder off of the AV port. You can remove it that way. You can use a hot air station, which I have over here right behind my multimeter. You can't really see it. That's one method. Or you can use, like in the video, a desoldering gun. That's what I used on this board that I'm going to put this on. This is what we're installing. Just so you know, it is real. There's been a lot of controversy over, over this device not shipping. A lot of people got upset thinking that these weren't shipping out. This is real. They are shipping. I got mine today in the mail. It was only a couple of days ago where I started getting movement on tracking for that device. So with that, we're going to go back to the desktop here, and we're going to go through this. You'll want to, of course, let's see, you want to make sure that it's tested and working, your console, before you even attempt this. This board that I'm installing, I know for a fact was working, as it came from someone else who did a 128 megabyte mod on it, so it's got extra RAM chips. Alright, so you want to check your kit if you've ordered one, and make sure that you have everything listed. Number one is the device, that's this here. You'll want to make sure that you have all your wires, of course. Some of these we're going to have to cut and strip to install them. I've got all these here. There's two black wires here, one red wire. It comes with a paired cable. In the guide, it'll show an orange and a yellow cable. Mine is green and blue. There's a orange cable here that's going to be used for SPDIF. And it comes with two replacement screws. Now these screws are longer than the ones that will come out of the original Xbox, such as these. These are ones I pulled from the power supply to pull the power supply out, but they're the same size as the ones that go on the AV port. These are longer, and that is because you'll have this spacer, and then you'll also have the plate cover. Forgive my headset dying. Technical difficulties, I swear. You'll have the plate cover, which will go in the casing. That's why I had the case disassembled the way it was. So we'll set these aside, but these screws will go in this spacer like so, and we'll hold the board down. So we'll set these up here, set that aside. So you just want to make sure that you have everything in your kit as far as the kit goes, or the kit contents here in the guide. Wire prep. It's imperative to cut each wire as close as possible to our recommendations, but not shorter. If additional wire is needed, then make sure to use wire of similar quality or gauge. In other words, yeah, I think this is like 30 gauge wire. Stranded, of course, not solid core. After cutting each wire strip each side of the wires, it's recommended for the cleanest install to strip about 2 millimeters from one side for the connections to the Xbox motherboard and about 3 millimeters on the other side for the connections to the Xbox HDMI board. Make sure to twist the stranded wires and pre-tin each one. And this is your length. So like with the black wires, one will be longer than the other. And just to show that is the case, one is definitely longer than the other. Of course, we'll strip those back. Sorry about that, kids coming over here. Board prep. Begin by adding solder to all of the connection pads, GND, SDA, SCL, SPDIF, 1V8, and 5V. So I guess we'll go ahead and do that now. I'm going to go ahead and turn my light back on so I can see. And those points are located on the top of the board here, as you can see here. See if I can get this in a little bit closer. There we go. As you can see here, there's a point here, some points over here, and these here. We're going to go ahead and prep these, just so we can go ahead and get this out of the way. Go ahead and turn on my soldering station. Oh, so much stuff. I am aware that I am streaming my browser, but I have it set up so you can't see what tabs I have open. That is perfectly okay. I'm streaming my browser on purpose currently, actually, and oh, sorry. Did not mean to stream my browser on the explanation that I was trying to give. I do apologize. So according to the guide, yeah, we're just going to go ahead and start prepping these points here for installation. So we're going to work on this first. I'm going to get my iron now that it's on. And grab my solder from over here. So we'll start with the GND. Where is, there's a GND right there. I'm actually going to, here we go. Okay. it or not, it's my first time actually streaming stuff like this. I don't typically do install vids or streams for that matter, but because people were talking about how this product wasn't real and the guy that made it was scamming people, I figured I would do this as sort of proof. So there's ground, SPDIF, and 5 volt. We'll move over here to 1V8. And there's another ground over here. Ground is always difficult because the ground plane sucks away heat, and so grounds tend to be harder to do. There's a SCL and SDA over here. There's 1 and 2, and I'm just going to get a little bit of IPA on a Q-tip and clean this up. Got some debris on this ground over here. I'm going to clean that up with my tweezers. Like I said, I apologize about the browser situation. I will show more about the cutting of wires and stuff when we get to that point. I do apologize, but the wires, like I've got them right here. The ground wires, it will say in the guide that you'll have 2 of them, or you should have 2 of them, and they're going to be 2 different sizes. That was the biggest thing. So let's clean this up. So just so you can see, let's turn this down. Got the points prepped there. Sorry about the focusing problem. Sorry about the kids in the background. 1 second. Alright, as you can see here, the SCL or SDA and SCL, I can't really. Yeah, like I said, I apologize about the focus problem. And then the 1V8, 5 volt ground, and SPDIF. So we've got that over there. Now that that's prepped, we're going to set that aside. Turn my light back up. And let's see here. The motherboard prep is what we're going to get into now. So we'll go back over to the desktop. Remove the board from the Xbox that's already been done. We're removing the heatsink. Now that I have done, as you can see here, this heatsink has been removed. It's to make it easier to solder to the encoder. again with the dying headset. See if I can plug it in here and just actually see if I can do that now, so we can keep this thing from dying on me again. And there we go. All right. Alright, recommended to remove the GPU heatsink since there's little room between it and where the flex cable will be installed. We found that the best approach is to apply very low heat to the heatsink. Blah 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 blah. So remove the heatsink. I'm not going to worry about cleaning off the thermal compound because I don't know. It's already got like Arctic silver on it, so it's not that big of a deal. But I can't seem to find my tube of Arctic silver, so I'm not going to worry about it. After this, to remove the AV port, which has already been done, that would be here. And so that port's already been removed. I did that beforehand in anticipation of receiving my Xbox HDMI. And here in a minute I will show you, I've already prepped the mode connections as well. Make sure to clean the area with the IPA. The jumper wires here, which you'll notice 13 and 14, 11 and 12 are the mode pins that we want to jump in order to trick the Xbox into thinking that an HD AV pack has been installed. Or plugged in, rather. See if I can get my camera up on this for you. Sorry about shaky cam. And focus. I did this with some legs from a capacitor and just soldered on the bottom side. Get this back over here. Focus. Okay. Oh, sorry, it did it again. Dang it. I apologize. Remove the AV port. Like I said, I've already done this, and I've already jumped the mode pins. So it's pin 13 and 14 together, and 11 and 12 together. This will trick the Xbox into thinking that a HD pack is installed. And again, I've already done that with the legs of a capacitor, so something like this capacitor here. As you can see, I had one where I'd used one before and cut the legs off, and so I saved like the legs and stuff off of LEDs and capacitors and whatnot. And that's what I use to jump the connection. So turn this back on. And switch back over here. Back to the desktop. So basically that's all that is jumping that connection. And then we get to the Flex installation. This section will be mostly screenshots of the Xbox video encoder and where the Flex connects. Pay close attention to alignment of the Flex cable and take your time while installing. After the Flex is installed, the Xbox should still be bootable. Of course, if you remove your AV port, you're not going to be able to get any video, which isn't a big deal. Just as long as it's not like fragging or flashing red and green, then it'll be fine. Pre-tin both sides of the Flex by applying ample flux and running solder across each pad before soldering the Flex to the motherboard. Take your time. So I'm going to set this board aside again, and we'll pull the flex cable over. I'm going to do this under my microscope. You're not going to be able to see this, but because these pads are so small, or the connections here, the pitch is so fine. Focus. You gonna focus? I don't think it's gonna focus. Let's see if I can get a camera directly over it instead. Yeah, I can't seem to get this thing to focus. There we go. Kind of hard to see. There it is right there. This side plugs into the board. The other side here, you can see the pads there. They are pretty fine pitched. Again, sorry, pretty fine pitched pads there. I had to remember to switch my transitions. So I'm going to do this under a microscope because these are so small. I want to make sure that I don't rip anything off or mess up the flex cable. So you won't be able to see really what I'm doing, so I apologize, but you will see everything after the fact. Let's make sure. Bring this down. Okay, so now I can see that. I'm going to start over here. Okay, so took me a little bit of time. I apologize for not saying anything, but I did manage to get the solder onto the points there. Focus, there you go. Now the next step is to install it onto the motherboard. So I'm going to bring this down just a little bit. We'll transition over. Alright, so you can see here, I'm going to go ahead and get my wires out of the way too. Oh, excuse me. As you can see there, we're going to start with the longer side of the connection. Oh, bumped my light. Start with the longer side of the connection and get that soldered on first, and then we'll do the other points. Get this in focus. Okay. Okay, so with the longer side here, place this onto the motherboard like so, and it's 1, 2, 3. We're going to start with the 4th pin. Make sure this is in place here, and I'm going to grab some flux. Sure, still lined. Oop, got my finger. Put some flux on this here. Some cases you can't have, well, in all cases, there's no such thing as too much flux. There is such thing as not enough. If you don't put enough on, you'll most likely get a solder bridge, and you could severely damage your equipment. Well, not your soldering iron or anything, but like the Xbox. So we're going to see about tacking that point there. And there we go. I'm going to come over here, tack that point. And it's a little shaky today. It should be connected. Make sure T3 is on the 4th one, and 2, 3, 4 left. Yep, it should be that connected right there. As So I'm going to clean this up now. Granted, where I put it, I mean, it works. It should probably be a little lower than where I put it, but it works. So it just means that one of these is going to be, or both of these little parts right here are going to have a little bend in it, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. You'll see here, see if I can get on this. You're going to focus, there you go. I got it butted up. Here we go. I got it butted up right on the legs there. Ideally, you probably want it down on the pads just before the feet. Would be the ideal place to put it, but like I said, it works. Next, I'm going to do the side closest to the GPU. This would be considered the bottom. So we did, or here's a little overview of the whole chip, or the flex cable. We did the left connection here. That's what we did. Now we're going to work on the bottom connection. Just so you know that what we're looking at. And get realigned. Actually bring this closer to me, but move my scope. Okay, this is going to actually switch back over and grab my tweezers and hold this in place. Here. Alright, so looking at this picture here, you'll notice the first connection we're going to make is going to be the second one from the right, which is going to be a ground connection. So I'm going to grab a little bit more flux here. It's a capacitor. Okay. Flux. Okay. Put some solder on my iron. And grab the flex cable. Second. Here we go, right there. Alright, come up. There you go. Come on. See, I've already got a solder bridge, only because I touched the legs. So I'm going to put some flux on the leg, see if I can fix this. Yep, okay. I'm going to try and rotate this just a touch, as I'm hitting that capacitor right there. Okay, that's connected. I'll go ahead and clean this up. Okie dokie. And make sure there's no solder bridge. Still got some cleaning up to do. Start cleaning that up some more. Okay. And there's that connection there. And the last connection. I'm actually going to turn this way. See if I can get okay, that last connection is going to be the right side. And those are the connections there. This will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sixth one down. I don't have my scope in the right place. And there we go. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I pretend these points on the encoder previously. I did this before starting the stream. Again, all in anticipation for this device. So I'm just going to grab some flux, put the flux on the flex cable. Plenty of flux. Can never have too much flux. Switch this back to the camera so you can watch me work. that's down, I'm just going to adjust. And there we go. Okay, there's that cable. Cable is now installed. I'm going to clean up this point here. There's also a ferrite bead that has to be removed, and I'll show that here in just a second. It's right here next to the encoder. Again, already done beforehand. Alright, so I'll toss that one. Okay, so let's put the cam up on this. You can see there's the last connection right there, and you'll notice right here, is where the ferrite bead is, has to be removed. You just take it off with a hot air station, soldering iron, and a glob of solder. However you want to do it, that's up to you. I use the hot air station. And I'm sure you can see it. Like I was saying, there was going to be bend, kind of how it wouldn't lay perfectly flat, but like I said, I'm okay with this. Moving on, now that the flex cable is installed, we're going to start with connecting each of the pre-cut wires. The wire for 5 volt and SPDIF should lay flat across the motherboard, running towards the right. In the case of the picture that you're looking at, it's exactly as it appears. If the AV port there at the top of the picture is facing away from you, then yes, it goes to the right. And we'll get to those points here in just a second. So here it talks about the ferrite bead, and it points to the exact point which I just showed. And these are the wire connections here. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to set the board aside. I'm going to leave this up for you to look at for just a moment. And I'm going to try to prep these wires. Okay. The batteries in. Let's see. 1 second. Sorry, my son keeps coming up to me. Let's see. I need. What was. Let's go back up here for a second so we can look at the table. Because the red wire we're going to have to cut almost in half. Five volt is longer than 1.8, so had a ruler. I have a set of calipers. The batteries are dead, so let's see. Try to do this. It's 20. Need 35. So that would be 30. 5 would be right there. And I'm just going to use a pair of nail clippers to cut this. That doesn't seem right. You go watch your show, bud. It's okay. Let's see. Let's jump ahead a little bit just to see, because I'm pretty sure. Okay. I'm not even sure how long this cable is. 48. Let's see if I do 35 here. And set this for 40. 50, 49, 48. 48 there. That should be. Yeah, so this cable is longer apparently than. So I'm just going to quite literally cut the red cable in half. Almost wish the red cable came in the sizes or lengths that is actually needed. But I'm essentially cutting this in half because it's longer. There's extra after measuring out both 35 and 48. So I'm just going to have two lengths of cable. Exactly the same length, essentially. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. These cables are probably longer than they should be to begin with. I don't have a ruler. And all I have is a set of calipers, and the battery is dead, so I can't measure properly. I'm just going to, like I said, I cut the red wire literally in half. I'm just going to strip these with a pair of nail clippers. And prep these wires for install. I'm just going to install the wires at the lengths they're at because I can't measure what they need to be at. There's one.
The door is closed. I want you to open it. I can't. Mommy's not going to open it. Baby.
This is the second cable here. There's a really stubborn sheath. There's a second one. One second. I apologize for noise in the background. And Matt, you're very welcome. I'm pretty sure not a lot of people are going to do something similar to this. Or, I mean, sure, somebody may record and install and post it on YouTube, but I want it to be kind of unique. I really need a pair of proper wire strippers, that's for sure, though. Nail clippers with this wire is a total pain. Alright, that's 3. You know what? I'm going to try to make this a little easier on myself because the whole nail clipper method, it works, but it's fairly difficult with the wire that I'm using. Excuse me. Now where did I put? I just had it, I swear. My bench is a total mess. I just had that sucker because I used it to open the package. Looking for my box cutter. And apparently, oh, I found my box cutter. Okay, I'm gonna use a box cutter. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this on the top of the cable and roll the cable. Yes. Should cut the sheath. Yep. And just pulls right off. It was so much easier. Again, I'm aware the instructions say, or the guide says, and it's definitely recommended. It's been said before in the in the Discord server. It's recommended to follow the install guide. I would definitely recommend following the install guide. I, however, am not going to follow the install guide to a T because, like I said, I don't have a ruler, and therefore can't measure the cables properly. I am okay with having cables that are slightly too long. I'd rather have cables that are too long than not long enough. Ow, okay, that one didn't cut. only thing left is this paired cable. And I've got to split it some down the middle, like so, in order to strip this one back. 1 second. Okay.
That won't open it. My mom told me open it. My mom told me open it. She didn't. Why would my mom tell me?
I gotta do the other end. It likes to be difficult. Again, I apologize. This is like the first time doing stuff like this, so I don't normally do install vids or stream this kind of stuff. In fact, if you look at the channel, there's hardly any kind of streaming or video at all. I don't really get a chance to do much of anything. Shaky hands. Gotta love shaky hands. It doesn't help I had to walk to work today. Alright, so that's 2 blacks, 2 reds, 1 orange, and a paired cable. Okay. Now, 5V and SPDIF are coming off of the AV port. We'll switch back over here so you can see the AV port here. Connect each of the pre-cut wires according to the wire cut chart above. The wires for 5V and SPDIF should lay flat across the motherboard, running to the right. And of course, the paired cable connects here. So again, it looks like pin 1 will be connecting one of the cables to. I'm going to go ahead and tin the ends of this cable. Here's one side with flux, the other side with flux, and we're going to tin the cable. Grab my iron. switch back over here so you can see. Grab my iron, put some solder on the tip, and we're going to tin the cable on both ends like so. Here's one cable tinned, and we're going to use this one for 5-volt. I'm going to shove it in there like so. You can see it sticking up. I'm going to shove it in. I'm going to flip it over. I don't know what was on my board that just fell off, but okay. I don't know. Wasn't electronic, I can tell you that. Okay. It needs to fold over that way. And you can see it right there. Just bring it under the scope, make sure. Raise this up. There we go. Now, yeah, now I can see. Okay, that's pushed into there. Okay, so I'm going to take my solder and my iron. I'm going to solder this cable into pin 1. Soldered into pin 1. So there's one cable. One cable there. And SPDIF, which is going to be this orange cable. And do the same thing. And put flux on either side. And excuse me, acid reflux today. Put flux on either side, and we're going to tin this cable as well. Okay. And this one. This is 1, 2. This one should be 3, 4, 5, 6. So pin 6. Readjust. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stick this. Grab my tweezers just to make it easier. Stick this in pin 6. Again, fold that over to the right. Gonna flip this over. Readjust my scope. See it sticking up out of pin 6. Grab my iron and my solder. And we're going to solder this into pin 6 here. And that is soldered. like so. Let's see, make sure here. Yeah, it should be good. Okay. Alright. We got a ground, which is ground 1. We're going to take a look here. Ground 1 is going to be the longer wire of the two. And just to show, these are the ones we did here, 5 volt and SPDIF. Ground 1 is over here right next to the cap. So I'm going to turn my board. I don't need the scope for this one because it's a pretty large pad. I'm going to take the longer of the two cables. We're going to tin these cables here, or this cable, sorry, these cables, I meant this cable. That cable's been tinned. Now we're going to come over here with the iron and the solder, and we're going to solder this pad right next to the capacitor. And I'll point this out with my iron here. That capacitor right there is this point here, right next to that capacitor. Put my iron away so I can fix the camera so you can see. Okay, that cable there. This cable is going to go onto that point. Is it really? I'm curious. Because this is going to go here. Ground 2 is what's it, C5, C2? C5, C2, yeah, okay. I see the point. Alright. Almost makes me think. I just want to check this real quick. Yeah, there's plenty of cable. Plenty of cable. Okay, enough dicking around. one. The 1V8. I'm going to turn this around here. Oh, getting stuff in the way. One V8 is going to be right here next to the flex cable. There's a capacitor. It's C4B3. It's going to be that point right there at the top next to that capacitor. And we're going to solder the other red cable. So we'll need to tin that as well. Oh, and I dropped my cable with flux on it. That's fantastic. Let's just get flux everywhere. Oh, crap. Oh, come on now. Where did you go? Oh, this is really going to tick me off here in a minute. Oh, I found it. Hate it when I lose stuff. Okay. Let me just catch my chair on everything. All right. Okay, there's that cable. Now I'm going to tin the point on the motherboard where this cable is going to attach to. Again, this is C4B3 right next to the flex cable. And you gotta quit touching that cap. Okay, grab a cable. Try coming in from this angle. And the cable is in. Pull that back that way. And alright, next we're gonna do ground 2, which is C5C2. So here I've got this cable here. I know it's hard to see. This cable here installed. That was the 1V8. So now C5, C2, I'm going to go ahead and prep this point. Again, it's going to be the top of the capacitor. Okay. been prepped. The last black cable here. Going to attach this cable to C5C2. Just like so. So now all those cables are attached. The last cable to do is the paired cable. Doesn't matter which color goes where. Just so long as you remember which color is on what, so you know what to connect to the Xbox HDMI. We're going to go ahead and tin this cable as well. Okay. That cable has been tinned. Alright, so now this cable just gets attached to here. Alright, I'm going to grab my tweezers to help with this one, just so my fingers are out of the way and I can see. Okay, that's connected there. So now we've got this cable attached, like so. Alright, so I've got green on SDA and blue on SCL. This is where the fun part comes in. So we're going to set this aside, and now starts the actual assembly. We're going to pull, I'm going to raise this back up so it's out of the way. Pull out the board, or the board, I'm sorry, the case. And we're going to grab the HDMI plate. Alright, we're going to take this faceplate and it's going to go here in the AV port. There's a small slit in the bottom of it. It's going to snap onto the casing. Actually, of course, I'd put it. Is it doing it the wrong way? Okay, yeah, it should just snap into place. sure this is flush. As flush as it's gonna get, honestly. Oh, I apologize about that. Okay, so it'll sit in there like so, just like that. So if you look at the other side, it's now, let's see if we can, there we go. Can't really see it. You can probably see it better with the light on. Here's now an HDMI port. With that, I'm going to put the shielding back in. I always hated doing this. Okay, all of that. Apparently, one of the posts broke off. Two of them. That's okay. Well, not a screw post, a tiny little post over by the controller board. Alright. So we've got the 3D printed HDMI part in between the metal shielding and the Xbox case. That's what we wanted. So yeah, it now looks like this with the HDMI port. Shiny metal. Woohoo. There you go. Right there. It's as flush as I could get it on mine. Okay, moving on. Okay, of course the spacer's going to go on, but that's going to go on after the board is back in. So we can take the board, put the board back in. So we'll switch this back over, and we'll put the board back in. And I've got a cable in the way. Alright. So there's those cables there. And now for the spacer. Pretty sure. Dropping parts. this piece is, I'll move these kind of out of the way here. This piece is going to go kind of like this, with this part going up against the shielding. So that's going to go in there. Yep, sure. So I'm going to take one of these screws that I have. I'm going to grab, not the long ones, the original, the ones that go or hold the motherboard into the case. And if only I could find, I'm losing my tools. There it is. My torch wrench. You want to put the screw that's right next to the encoder back in, because you're not going to be able to put this one back in. Oh wait, am I trying to put this? Do I not have? I think this is a. This may be a 1.6 case. Maybe why? Yes, it is. Okay, so I don't need to worry about that screw then, because there's no post there to put the screw into. This is a 1.6 case. Alright, place the HDMI board in the system and screw it down with the two provided screws. As shown on here. So we can take our board. I'm going to set these screws closer. Put one of the screws in. I'm going to feed it through the spacer. In fact, I'm feed it into the spacer a little bit, and the same with the other side, just so it's held on, and then I can place it and screw it down. So I've got it kind of threaded in. Pull these wires kind of out of the way and place this in like so. I'm gonna goes. Okay. Now, okay, now I can screw this down. Into place. I don't want to go too tight, obviously. Probably just hand tight there, really. There it is, installed there. There it is right there. And we're going to finish this up. Connect each wire to the corresponding pads on the Xbox HDMI board. Carefully connect the flex cable to the FPC connector. Be very careful. It may take a couple of tries, as sometimes flex will want to go in at an angle. If this happens, then pull out and gently push it back in. Do not force it. Do not force it in. Make sure the flex is not inserted at an angle. Cannot emphasize that enough. So the first one we're going to do here is probably this orange wire. And I'm going to turn this for easier access. Let's get that ground wire out of the way. And a piece of blue shielding. Okay. Grab my iron. And grab my tweezers. Come on, stop sliding up my tweezers. Okay. There's SPDIF. Then the I know you can't see me soldering this stuff, but I'll show you here in just a second. Next is the 5V, which is underneath the HDMI board. And there's 5V. Next is ground, because this is such a long cable. This is going to sit in front of the fan. I do not care. Later on, if I take this apart and decide that I want to make this shorter, I'll make it shorter. But I'm perfectly okay with the way it is right now. And of course, ground plane, being so heat wicking that it is being difficult. In fact, I am going to try to grab my other iron and see if this one helps better. Of course, my FR301 is sitting right on top of it. Okay. Got my other iron. Let's see if we can get this one to... There we go. Alright, that ground is connected. Oh, come on, stay in the holder. Alright, next we're going to do the 1v8. Grab this iron here. Connect 1v8. 1v8 is connected. We're going to tuck that kind of out of the way there. Tuck it underneath. That's good. Yeah. Alright, yet another ground. This one is going to be difficult too, so this is the other ground. There's that ground there. That one is connected. And last but not least is the SDA and SCL. I'm going to rotate that one like this. Make sure we get make sure that I got this correctly here. What did I connect? SDA. I did green. Okay, so I want to rotate the cable like so. Pull it apart just a little bit. Grab tweezers. SDA and then SCL. And SCL is connected. Okay, so this is just going to lay flat like that. Here we go. Here's the HDMI installed. The flex cable still needs to be attached. There's SDA and SCL, the ground points, 1V8, SDA, 5V and ground. And it's attached with the 2 screws in the spacer. So all that's left to do is attach the flex cable. So far, anyway, at least according to the guide. So we're going to open up the FPC connector. Now that it's open, we'll take the flex cable. Let's see, maybe rotate it. There we go. Take the flex cable here. And push that in. Once it's pushed in, then we can try to make sure it stays in there. Close the FPC connector. And there it is, attached. Right there. Come on. Just like that. And adjust my cables. Okay. All right. Carefully connect the flex cable to the FPC connector. Make sure it doesn't go at an angle. And that's it. And pretty much just reattach. Where did I set that heatsink? There it is. Okay. Just put that heatsink back on. Reattach the clamp. There's that clamp there. That's back on. And now I gotta get the power supply back in because I took the power supply out. So I can pull the shielding out and get that back in there now. Put these screws back in place. Alright, those are in place. I'm going to put a couple of these motherboard screws back in. There's one. Got these things all over the place. Come on now. Oh, come on. Got my dinner over here sitting next to me. I haven't even eaten it yet. There's two. The BIOS patches aren't out yet. They're supposed to be up, from what I understand, this weekend. There's supposed to be a guide to show you how to patch the BIOS for use with this. Once I have that information, I will be doing that. I don't have that information right now, so I can't do that. I am stuck using whatever BIOS I have on my mod chip and or TSOP. See, I need 1, 2 more. 2 more screws. Just one at this corner here. And just drop the screw. Alright, now, come on. I apologize about the kids in the background. Alright, that should be all of them. Looks like it. Okay, now I can put a set of controller ports. Well, I'll put that in just a second, because I've got to put the faceplate back on too. Put the fan in. Come on now. Quit being stubborn. That's snapped into place. Plug the fan back in. That's in place. Grab tweezers. I'm going to push this cable down. Try to, because I don't want to get it caught on the case screw and screw that up. That would not be fun. Okay. That's all screwed back into place. Now I can take my faceplate. Okay, grab my faceplate, plug this stuff back in. It goes in there. It goes in. And come on, that goes in there. Okay. Faceplate snaps back into place. Control ports can go back in. At least player 1 and player 2 are going back in. Pull that off to the side. We can grab oh great, I'm gonna hate myself here in a minute. set it? I set my mod chip somewhere, and I don't even remember where I put it. That's fantastic, actually. Not sure what I did with that. Oh well. Let me see here. I've got another one. Well. Do. It couldn't have gone far. I will be right back. Once I can get this, we'll plug it in and hook it up. I've got a capture card. It has HDMI input. And we can test it, make sure it works. I'll be right back. Okay, I did manage to find the chip. My X3 chip. We're going to put this back in because it's what I had installed previously. D0, I need to ground. Well, crap. Let's see here. just going to solder this here to D0 and plug that into the chip. Let's see here. That's connected. Let's connect this here. Like so. Those connected. I need it's not one thing, it's another. Constantly losing crap. There we go. This needs to plug in to here. And this attaches here. And this attaches here. Connect that. Pull these up out of the way. Nope. Stop it. Okay. Those are up out of the way, and everything there is connected. I'm not so worried about attaching a hard drive. I have a controller that will get connected. And as I knock over books. Okie dokie. Grab this controller here. Whoop. Controller is plugged in. Okay. I'm going to set that down. Make sure I'm grabbing the right cable here. Give me just a moment. Okay. I gotta grab my power cable. Grab the power cable here. We're going to, I've got a plug on my bench I'm going to plug this into. There we go. That's plugged in. Plug in HDMI now. And that's attached. Sorry, you can't see. Let's get that up in that corner. Transition. There you go. It's plugged in. HDMI. And we'll turn it on. There you go. It's functioning. And just to prove a point, I mean, that's obviously the executor there. Just to prove a point. Yeah, you can tell air. Power it on, holding down the white button on the controller. Should. Yeah, you're not going to do it because you probably won't do it because there's no hard drive. That's easily fixable. I've got the disk drive and the hard drive. Of course, my crap's getting all kinds of torn up. Oop. Oh, crap. Now I need there we go. Okay. DVD drive, power cable. Disconnect the hard drive from here and plug in the IDE cable. 80 pin or 40 pin 80 wire cable. Grab the DVD drive and attach that here. back up. There it is. Excuse me. And let's see here. Let's make this a bit bigger. And let's go reboot to dash. This is a 2 terabyte hard drive. There it is. Origins. Yeah, so that's it. I mean, that's literally all there is to it. Just follow the guide. It's fairly easy to do. Just make sure there's no bridges on your encoder or your flex cable, and you're good to go. Xbox HDMI installed. I will enjoy this for quite some time. Now I don't have to go searching for cables, like composite or component cables, trying to make sure that I've got something to play with. I know now, if I take this box to a friend's house, I can plug it into an HDMI port and still be able to play. This is great. Alright, with that, thank you all for joining, those of you that stayed, and hope you now know that it's a real product. And if you order one at MakeMHz.com and decide to install this yourself or have someone install it for you, it's well worth it. It's been said before by Mr. Moria and several other people. It's worth it. I would definitely recommend it. Obviously, the flex cable's probably not something for beginners to do. You might want to find somebody to install that for you, but you know, if you are a beginner, but if you've got some experience and you've got the tools to do it on your own, by all means, install it. It is definitely worth it. With that in mind, I'm gonna head on out of here. Hope you all have a good night, and